Hi Jack,
Hi, Rita.
what are we talking about today?
Running, running this year and what comes with it.
Hmm.
I've been running for a few years now, um, and what I did when I started and what I do now are
Hmm.
different. Uh, Things that worked well in the past um, tend not to work well now, and vice versa and stuff. So, kind of wanted to go over things that work to try and help people who are maybe picking up running um, this year.
The
Um,
mistakes that we made and what we learned
mm,
on the way.
I think a lot of people make the same sort of mistakes.
Hmm.
So if you can draw on other people's experiences, like most things in life, then um, you can kind of get ahead of the game.
Although I
Quicker.
feel like probably most people have to commit some of these mistakes themselves to actually realize that it is a mistake, because we just threw ourselves into it
Mm,
and learned from all the things that went wrong for us. If we can help anyone not to do every single mistake that we did, then
mhm.
that's it.
Yeah, I mean, my running came from rugby for many
Mm.
years, and then took a massive hiatus when I went into powerlifting,
Mm.
and then only returned because of a powerlifting injury
Mm.
um, that took so long to recover from that I
Mm.
had to just change tact, and then picked up running and are really enjoying it now,
Mm.
and doing different versions of running for sure.
Interestingly, my experience with running is quite similar, because, well, I used to hate running, and like even now, I probably wouldn't say that I love it, but I do really appreciate what it gives me. But I have always been rubbish at running. When I was back at school, I dreaded, what do you call it, the 12-minute test, the Cooper test, is it?
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah, so that was just my worst nightmare. And then, yeah, I never liked it. I always avoided it. And then when I had to take a little break from training the way I wanted to train due to an injury, that's when I decided that, well, I kind of always wanted to be able to go on holiday and just run a few Ks on the beach when I'm
Mm.
just there to just discover the area. And I tried it, I think, a couple of summers before I picked up running, and it was horrible. Like, obviously, it's warmer on holiday as well, so it's difficult, but it was so hard, and then it really didn't appeal to me. And then I thought, yeah, let's make the most of a bad situation by working on something that I never really got around to doing because of
Mm.
prioritizing other types of training and just not really liking it.
Well, this is, I suppose, a sidestep from running and running on holidays. You get to see a lot more.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
get to sort of
Because you're just
explore.
faster.
Yeah, you get to sort of explore the areas and stuff.
Mm.
So I think it comes with a lot of positives.
Yeah.
It tends to be although we are entering into running events, running is a base for a lot of exercises.
Mm.
So to be able to go, and we actually book holidays around running,
Yeah.
which is quite nice.
So what would you say, like, if you just had to tell our listeners your biggest mistake, if there was anything that comes to mind when you first started running?
Um, Interestingly, a big mistake was also, I don't know if something can be a mistake and a positive at the same
Mm.
time, but the thing that helped me so much when I started running was this watch.
Mm.
Was it? You just tell it what you want to do
Mm.
or what you're aiming for
Mm.
when you want to do it,
Mm.
and they're pretty good. It's
Mm.
pretty good, the training.
We are not sponsored by Garmin, but
Oh.
feel free to reach out.
Yeah. The the Garmin watch, especially, mainly because it's just specifically kind of a running watch, is very helpful. I know lots of watches and apps and stuff; they all basically do the same sort of thing. But especially in our job where we're coaching lots of people, you can get a bit blind to programming, and when you do your own programming, it becomes sometimes a bit of a monumental task. So it's quite nice to have someone or something take over
Yeah.
that.
So why was it bad, or why was it bad as well as good?
And I only really understood this later on into once I had done a few running events and achieved a few like 5K goals, 10K goals and stuff, was that I think the best thing for me would have just to go out and run without really worrying about metrics and stuff, and just gone, this is how much time I have. I'm just going to run. I'm not going to worry about data and stuff this early on, because I had to do long runs and short runs and tempo runs and interval runs,
so much
and I just struggled in every run. Every run, the heart rate was through the roof, and I just couldn't. I wasn't flexible enough because I was beginning.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was. I heard someone say on Instagram, I think it's running courses, when you start running, there's no tempo pace or easy pace. There's only shit pace, because every run just feels hard and you have no idea what the paces are, because any numbers that you might get are just estimations, but the more you run, the more data you get and the more precise it gets. But at the beginning, just spending more time on your feet and just kind of treating it as like you just spend that time out rather than aiming for a certain distance or aiming for a certain pace goal. Just if you have 15 minutes, I often tell my clients to spend like 7 of that minutes running in one direction and then in the other 7 or 8 running back, and then you got it. That's about 15 minutes. You might run faster or you might run a bit slower on the way back, depending on your endurance.
To be honest, yeah.
But then that's such a great way of doing it instead of putting a lot of pressure on yourself. And quite interestingly, because I have made similar mistakes at the beginning, now for my easy runs, I often go out without my watch. So I just start my Strava to track the distance, so I know how much I did and I have record of it that I can look back at later. But I don't keep constantly checking my pace. I don't keep constantly checking how much is left, what I need to aim at. I just go and it goes based on my heart rate. And then if I have to stop at traffic lights, I'm not gonna just stop my watch if it's an easy run, because like, what if my pace is a little slower than what I actually did? Does it really matter?
So I only really sort of transitioned to more of a structured plan once I'd done the Cambridge Half, Town and Gown, and I was like, oh, I enjoyed that. I would like to go faster the next time. And then I was like, okay, I just need to be a little bit more strategic. And that's really, like, it wasn't like you reach a particular level or anything. It just became a want. And with a want, you need to be a bit more specific. So my training became more specific. And now it's really important. It's really important that those easy runs, I am going easy, because it compounds, doesn't it? So, if your easy run, if you feel you've got loads of energy, you don't blitz your easy run, because in a few days you might have your long run or your tempo. So you need to sort of make sure you're managing it somewhat.
But then whether or not it's easy, it doesn't only come down to the predicted pace that you should be doing, but also your heart rate and how you personally find it. So I think you might take into account a lot more metrics, and I know you do a little bit more heart rate training for that reason, rather than sticking with a certain pace, because the pace might be unattainable on a certain day where you just haven't slept as good, but you might still be able to go out for an easy run. It just has to be a bit slower than what
all I do is heart rate training now, because it can change by 20-25 beats per minute, depending on the days and stuff. So I'm not even, the only time I look at pace now is if I have a particular goal in a running race. It's all heart rate stuff. What about yourself?
I think I have to say that my biggest mistake when I started running was that I didn't allow myself to enjoy it. I immediately started to compare myself to other people's paces and distances, and it took a massive toll on my confidence. But also, I think I ended up overtraining for that reason, or at least not recovering from my training, because it's really hard to know that all those people that I know were running were the only ones that I could look at for inspiration. But I didn't actually know how long those people have been running in a lot of cases. So some of those paces came from those people having been running for 5-6 years, and I literally just started. So for me to aim to get even close to those paces, or to be disheartened when I'm like not even close to that, was just such a stupid way to look at it. But I struggled to find people who were in the same shoes as me, so I didn't really have a realistic way of comparing. So I think that also kind of led me to believe that there are certain races maybe that I should be doing, or there are certain milestones that I should be hitting. And I think I was quite hard on myself. And I will say that me being hard on myself and getting that push from all the information around me did help me to achieve like really amazing things in my first year of running. But if I could go back, I think I would probably take it easy and just be a little bit kinder to myself and not set expectations at the very beginning, apart from like looking at how amazing it is that I can go out for a run and it actually can feel easy, not trying to push a pace that I think I should be hitting and then hardly being able to breathe because it's just way too fast for me. Being able to start running at a truly easy pace, however embarrassing that might look for an outsider, not trying to catch up with people or join people who are way faster than me just for the sake of it. Or that's one of the reasons I think why I stepped away from road running races, and I ended up finding my preference in trail running, because that really helped me to stop comparing myself, because most of the people that I know are not entering those races. Most of the people I know are not running on trails, and trails are really difficult to compare because each and every one of them will have a different elevation. Each and every one of them will be a different terrain. Depending on the weather, there are massive differences. So it's almost impossible to compare yourself, even your own accomplishments from one day to the other on the same trail can be very different if it's been raining and it's very muddy, or the temperature has increased and it's super hot. So I think that really helped me to find what I like in running and give myself permission to actually do what I enjoy rather than do what I thought I should be doing because everyone else was doing.
Yeah, it's funny how quickly you just forget about pace. The thing that becomes so important with road running just becomes almost inconsequential.
But then it opens up so many opportunities to actually challenge yourself in different ways, because I think that road running, yes, obviously we do end up increasing the distances, but oftentimes it seems more accessible to increase the pace or the speed of each run. And then obviously it's so easy to look up what time everyone else did in the same race that you have done. So if you feel quite good about what you achieved, then that can change very, very quickly if you look up what speed or what race time someone else got that you thought might be at a similar level of fitness as you are, and then start comparing yourself and then start to feel like, oh well, you haven't really done as well as you could have.
Isn't it? What do we value in road running is how quick I did it last year compared to this year.
And you want to improve on that.
Yeah.
So obviously you're training a whole year towards something, even during the race, like the amount of times that you get stuck behind people and the roads are too narrow and then you can't really overtake, so you're not even running your own race, you are just kind of falling in line with others. So there are just so many factors to consider that sometimes when we sign up for a race, we forget that just one day that all the training culminates in, but it might not mean that that is our best day. Especially I think as females as well, are where we are in our hormonal cycle, can massively impact how we do on any day of the month. So maybe just not putting as much pressure on ourselves for race day. But then of course the adrenaline and just all the training has to lead to something, so it makes sense that race day is the one where we do want to accomplish something amazing. So it can just be quite difficult.
Oh, my last Cambridge Half, I was 9 minutes slower than the year previous.
It was super hot.
And my training went fantastic and stuff, and then I remember being like 500 meters into the race, my heart rate was like 180 beats per minute, at a pace that I was very comfortable at running. Walked, ran through the whole thing. Couldn't keep control of my heart rate. Didn't know what was going on. Just was like, okay, it is what it is. And then 2 days later, I came down with a really, really nasty cold. And I was like, okay, it must have been harbouring something, and it is what it is sometimes.
But to be fair, for that exact race last year, I hardly know anyone who got the time that they thought they can realistically get, because it was very hot. unexpectedly, all of our training was through the colder month in very, very different conditions. They ran out of fuel, they ran out of water at one point, so hydration was a massive issue, especially in the heat. And lots of people, like 500 meters from the finish line, they had to stop their run, and they were sitting or crying on the side of the road, not being able to finish because they just went out a bit too fast. And it's how horrible that experience is, that you push yourself the same way as you would if the conditions were exactly the same as what you trained for, and then you can't even finish the race. Like, I don't know, I think I would rather adjust my pace and then at least finish the race, and then accept that like this was not the day for a PB, but I did my best under those conditions, than not even finish because I wouldn't be flexible enough to accept that certain things are just outside of my control.
Yeah.
So just to kind of wrap this up, let's discuss what tips would we give to someone who just starts to get into running in 2026.
Drawing from my own experience, run your own race. Getting the miles under your feet is more important than most things, like pace and stuff. So just getting the miles under your feet, that's where you're going to get the experience. That's where you're going to learn how your body responds to it. You're going to get way more data based on how you respond to training than any of these watches and apps and stuff like that. Really learn what you can achieve and manage it. I know it can be difficult when you don't want to invest way too much financially into something, but honestly, a decent pair of trainers goes a long way.
I would also say, even though you probably want to have a decent pair of trainers, don't worry too much what you get. Like, try on a couple, and whatever feels comfortable for you. Like, you don't have to buy the most expensive ones. Like, my favorite trainers are both for road and trail running, seem to be the ones that I got like half price from like a previous version of the newest ones.
Just get last year's colours.
Yeah, they are not that much better. So just try on a couple. You can go to loads of shops where you can actually run on the treadmill with them. And like, I was super surprised, and I tried out some really padded ones, and I hated the feeling. Like, for me, it just felt like I was constantly wobbling on top of all that foam. And I think sometimes you just want to get used to how running feels. And running can feel really tough on the body because of the impact, but also the more gradually you build up the running, the stronger you get. So allowing your body not to rely on the shoes, but actually build up the strength for the running will be a long-term benefit. And then you wouldn't have to worry about like the shoes just kind of wobbling on your feet.
Yeah, I mean, my road shoes are like very spongy clouds, but like, I'm really heavy when it comes to runners. I'm very heavy, but my trail shoes are really stiff because I need that support.
Yeah.
So 2 different versions of running.
Yeah, exactly.
Different needs.
My trail shoes literally look like climbing shoes. They are so thin, and I love the feeling of they kind of move in line with my body, so they are not like supporting my ankle, but my ankle is able to twist with the different terrain, but I'm not gonna like fall off the height of my shoes, which is quite nice. Plus, like, if it's wet outside, like the water just goes right through the shoes rather than it doesn't get soaked in all the foam.
I think clothing wise, you can go in the same line. I mean, you can go like, be comfortable, but understand you're going to get warm quick. So like, layers are better than thick stuff. But again, most of my running stuff is fair. I don't think I've ever bought anything full price, shoes or running stuff.
And let's, in terms of clothing, let's just touch quickly on running vests, because I know there's this massive backlash. If people go out for short runs wearing the vest, just do whatever you want to do. Like, the amount of times, like, I had a couple of pairs of leggings that had pockets, but if I went out for runs and I didn't have those leggings on, I have to put my phone, my keys, and tissues as a bare minimum somewhere. So I'm not going to carry them in my hands. So it was so much more comfortable to put them in a running vest. So I just don't really care about what other people say. But I do end up running a lot, putting my phone in my side pocket, but then it shouldn't be too heavy because then it just kind of feels uncomfortable. Or just wearing a gilet that has several pockets to put stuff in it. But I wouldn't really worry about like oh, you can't use a running vest or you can't take water on your run until you can run for over an hour. It's irrelevant. I sometimes don't take water with me if I go out for running 15k, and I might take water with me if it's very hot outside for a 5k. It just depends on the day. So yeah, just probably this is again in line with like run your own race, like do your own thing, do what works for you rather than listening to like this is what you should and shouldn't be doing.
I tend to go by one rule, which is at some point, whether it's the beginning, it's further in, or whenever you're running, whether it comes from the effort you're putting in or the weather or both, it's going to be uncomfortable at some point. So you might as well try and control as many comforts as possible. So be comfortable in what you wear what you want to wear something that is going to be is going to last you the run. If it doesn't work, change it. Make yourself as comfortable as possible, and it's just going to make things a bit easier.
I guess one more thing I would say that could be a great thing if you are just starting running is to surround yourself with people who also do it at a similar level or just a slightly higher level than you. I would be careful running with people who are much better than you unless they are quite good at accommodating your need. So many people just wouldn't run with others, and I know I had this issue at the beginning that I really felt like, no, it's like I can't run very fast, it's super embarrassing how slow I am or how bad I am at running. I really don't want anyone else to see it. I will just do it by myself. I don't want anyone else to see me. But actually surrounding ourselves with people who are in the same boat, that mutual kind of suffering and the camaraderie can add a lot, and all the runs that are done with other people seem to go a little bit faster as long as they are at a similar level as well, because we try to chat or just make sure that the pace is easy enough so that we don't feel like dying all the way through. And kind of on that note, I think everyone always underestimates how much nicer it is to run outside than on the treadmill. So I know the comfort of the treadmill can be quite nice, especially when the weather conditions are not ideal. But every run that I did outside went faster than the ones I did on the treadmill, regardless of the distance. Like a 5k on a treadmill is more boring than a 10k outside. So yeah, if you guys are new to running and you wanted to find yourself a running group, then Sexy Pace is adding starter pace to its repertoire for beginners or people who are not as confident in their running.
Yeah, it's probably what gave me confidence was the first time a few years ago I ran with a running group. I've always, now and again I've trained with people, but to be honest, more often than not, I lift weights by myself, I run by myself, and it's kind of always been the way. I've always seen it as kind of like my time. And actually, it was early on when I started running, and I joined, just got invited to a run group. Started early on a Sunday, was very, very nervous. And although I'm quite confident in the gym, running, I'm not a running build. And I met basically a bunch of people, probably 10, 12 people who I'd never met before. And one by one, they all turned up and they're about half my body weight. And I got more nervous and more nervous and more nervous. And then we went out for a run and I had no issues whatsoever with the pace. It was a very good night. It was a nice group of people. And it really sort of instilled confidence in myself and my own running. And this is what we kind of plan to do with, our run group has been going for just over a year now, but as you say, adding this extra one just opens up the ability for more people to join.
Because running's supposed to be an inclusive sport, so we are all about making sure that everyone really can join and enjoy themselves rather than feel excluded and worse than what they are able to achieve.
Perfect.